Hello, English 346 queer literature. So I want to talk to you about your second paper, which is going to be about finding continuities or discontinuities between queer identities in two of the texts that we've looked at in this class so far. So if you look at the assignment, one of the examples that I've given is that in both Paris is Burning and in Other Voices, Other Rooms, drag is a key component of queer identity. That the ways in which men are dressing as women or trans women are aligning themselves in community with gay men is a way of understanding that queer identity. If you were to look at M. Butterfly, you would probably find that there's a very different structure. I'm not sure that Gallimard is gay, and I'm not sure that he's not gay, and I'm not sure that gay is actually the right term. Sort of like trying to place Gallimard on a straight gay axis is just like it's the wrong measuring stick to use for Gallimard. So if you wanted to talk about queer identity in M. Butterfly, you would probably find a severe discontinuity between, say, Other Voices, Other Rooms, in which drag is kind of the symbol of homosexuality, or Paris is Burning, in which drag is the foundational activity of the community. That the balls are actually a kind of gathering, and drag is constitutive of that. We talked a lot when we read The Color Purple and watched The Watermelon Woman about how Celie and Cheryl understand their identities as lesbians or as people in love with women differently or the same, right? That how is it that Cheryl and Celie, what is it that constitutes their queerness? Can we even say that Celie is queer? Can we say that Celie is a lesbian? I think we can, but as you work through these questions, hopefully you'll come to a thesis. And I will be asking you for a proposal this week in which you need to kind of identify which texts you're going to talk about and give me a sample thesis and a few of those topic sentences that would support that thesis. What you should see by now, based on the readings that we've done, is that how queer identity is organized changes in different times and in different places and among different communities. That while we might see something universal in sexual contact between people of the same gender, or we might see something universal in a kind of refusal of normative gender roles and an embrace of a kind of gender performance or a gender performativity that doesn't match up with dominant expectations. How gay identity or lesbian or trans, and we haven't gotten to intersex yet, identity, what it's founded in and what it's based on, right, becomes something quite different when we move from an individual desire to a community structure, right? That what we're starting with is kind of an individual urge or an individual desire or an individual understanding of identity in the South that then creates a kind of community that has a set of shared values. And I think this is dramatized most clearly in The Watermelon Woman, in which Faye's lover tells Cheryl that the only community that counts is Black women, and to exclude white women from the story that she tells. Because she's making a very clear argument about how that identity should lead to community and what that community should look like, even if In Faye's lover's version, that would be a partial telling. And Cheryl, of course, in making the documentary that we're watching about Faye, chooses to include a fuller story. And so that conflict is dramatized rather than one side chosen or the other. And that's often really the value of fiction, is that we can dramatize a conflict rather than having to take a side, that we can see the value in both arguments, but in fiction, because the characters can fight it out, we don't have to choose one particular side or the other. We can see the value of both arguments. So I think you have enough to work with. If you wanted to go back to that very first day when we did orientation, please, with Bill Roundy's comic, you could certainly include that. That would be a very interesting piece to choose. But the bottom line is you just need to choose two pieces. I would encourage you to choose the two pieces you liked the most. If you really hate one of the pieces, don't write about it because you have to spend a lot of time with it. So choose the two pieces that you like the most and just ask yourself, what does queerness mean in these two pieces? What does an individual understanding themselves in the text as queer mean? And what does the community that they enter understand them mean? And once you have answers to those questions, you'll be able to do a kind of compare contrast where you can really see a discontinuity that is worth spending your time with, or a continuity that's worth spending your time with. So I hope this clarifies what I'm expecting for the second paper. And obviously, if you're still unclear, you can always email me or come to office hours. Okay, thanks so much.